What is up, Janksters? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHawks42 on the internet, and today we have a team-up card from March of the Machine. And this is one that I'm actually really excited for, because they took two gigantic Ikoria monsters that I'm a fan of, honestly, and they smashed them together to make a very unique card that I think embodies the mechanics of both of the original cards very, very nicely, while standing on its own and being a pretty competitive card, I think. Well, we'll see in the end, but I like it. So Kogla and Yidaro. For 2 red, green, you get a legendary creature, ape, dinosaur, turtle, and it's a 7/7. When Kogla and Yidaro enters the battlefield, choose one. It gains trample and haste until end of turn. It fights target creature you don't control. And then you could also pay 2 red, green, and discard Kogla and Yidaro from your hand. Destroy up to 1 target artifact or an enchantment. Shuffle Kogla and Yidaro into your library from your graveyard. Then draw a card. I love this in so many ways. I think of all of the cards out there, like the team-up cards in general, so there's a whole cycle of them where they take 2 iconic characters from a certain plane, combine them together to produce something. You know, we saw like Thalia and Gitrog Monster. We saw, you know, Maverin and Galta. All cool cards for the record. Like, I enjoy them very much. And what they're doing is they're finding these kind of mechanical middle grounds. And in some cases, they just take all the effects that were on the one card and they just put all of them on the other card. Or, you know, they put them all together and call it good. Which is kind of the case with Thalia and Gitrog Monster. Like, those two, like, when they smash them together, it's just like, you just, like, took Thalia and you just took the Gitrog Monster and you kind of, like, glued them together. Don't get me wrong, it's rad, but like, they're very similar to their original cards. In the case of Kogla and Yidaro, I feel like the mechanics have melded and kind of intermingled in a really cool way. So Yidaro, the original Yidaro Wandering Monster, was an 8/8 with trample and haste with cycling. And when you cycled it a certain number of times, you would get it for free. So you were incentivized to be running 4 of them in your deck and cycle them a lot. And so you discard it, it shuffles back into your deck, you draw a card, and then once you've done that for 4 times, I believe, yes, 4 more times this game, you then get Yidaro for free onto the battlefield. So it's a cool effect. It's a neat way to kind of cheat it into play after you've jumped through some hoops. But in the case of Kogla and Yidaro, they've changed that. So you don't have cycling on this card at all. Instead, they gave you what is effectively a channel ability, where you can discard Kogla and Yidaro to destroy an artifact or enchantment. Well, guess what? Kogla, upon attacks, could destroy an artifact or enchantment that your opponent controlled. So here we have a situation where they took Kogla's effect of being able to, they took Kogla's attack trigger of Naturalize, blow up an artifact or enchantment, and Yidaro's cycling ability, and merge them together to create this this channel effect. However, when you use it, and it costs 4 because you get a lot more benefit, you get a lot more bang for the buck in this case than you did with just Yidaro cycling. So it costs 4 rather than 2. But when you destroy it, you discard it, you destroy the artifact or enchantment, and then Kogla and Yidaro go back into your library the way that Yidaro did when you cycled it, and then you draw a card, which is effectively like cycling. So again, you have to, like, you're doing Yidaro cycling, but you're using Kogla's ability to destroy artifacts and enchantments, and they blend together in a really cool way, all on one mechanic, all in one ability. I think that's really cool. And then Kogla had an ETB, and Yidaro had trample and haste. So, Kogla and Yidaro having an ETB that can grant them trample and haste makes a whole lot of sense. And Kogla's ETB effect had it fighting another creature. So the fact that you could choose to have this fight another creature also totally checks out. I gotta say, flavorfully, top to bottom, Kogla and Yidaro has done a phenomenal job of gathering all the different bits and pieces of the original characters and their original mechanical identities and weaving them together to create a unique card that calls back to basically all the parts of these otherwise mechanically kind of intense creatures. So I really dig it. I think this is just genuinely excellent. And on top of that, I mean, you're getting a 7/7 for, what, 6? It's color intensive. You have 2 red and 2 green, but you get a 7/7 for 6 with upside. Cool by me. Also, it's an ape. So anybody out there playing, monkey, ape, creature types in Commander, keep an eye on this. That's pretty good. Also, with the ETB, it would trigger multiple times if you have Panharmonicon and whatnot, so that's always good. If you care about discarding cards, that's, you know, that's in play too. So I don't know. All in all, I think Kogla and Yidaro is just, it's just freaking good. It's just really freaking good. Also, if you're watching on the videos feed, I want to switch the art that we have here too, because another detail about March of the Machine that I really want to call out is the Phyrexian invasion is hitting every plane that we've seen thus far. I think. I don't know if there are any, honestly, if there are any planes in Magic that we are not touching in some way or another, I would be shocked. They are going, they've got some deep cuts as far as planes that have been invaded at this point. So presumably, like, we're seeing all the planes getting touched, and in recent years, they have done showcase frames for different cards that are plane specific. And Ikoria had the Godzilla treatments that we know and love, which Yidaro got one of those, for the record. So there is a Godzilla version of Yidaro, which is fun. But Ikoria also had comic book art styles, which, for the record, I think look great. I happen to have a couple of them, and I adore them. I think they're great. Well, Kogla and Yidaro get one of those. They have one of the comic book art styles that has the Ikoria crystals, like, featuring around the edges. And the picture shows this, like, it looks like a comic book that you would expect to see in, like, the 80s and 90s at a convenience store or something. It's so fun. I love it. Like, this makes me so happy. And it shows Kogla riding Yidaro's back. So if you wanted to see a gigantic ape monster riding a dinosaur turtle, that is a thing that exists in March of the Machine. Honestly, like, I've been very jaded about March of the Machine as of late. If you've been following Twitter or my streams or, you know, my Discord, like, I'm on my Discord server, and, you know, kind of explaining some of the thoughts I'd rather not put on Twitter, you know, and I don't know, the March of the Machine story left me with kind of a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't really enjoy the way it ended. I was expecting more of an impact. I would have enjoyed, I'm gonna own it. This is a personal opinion. I would have enjoyed the impact on the known characters to have been more. I felt like the stakes were very, very high, and I felt the lack of a good payoff there cheapened it. So I was a little, I don't know, I've been a little jaded about the storyline and everything going on. And honestly, I was hesitant to really dive into the cards. I didn't want to look into all these cards too much because I was just, I don't know, I was feeling down on the set. And then I saw Kogla riding Yidaro in, like, an old school pastel comic book style. Like, all right, I can't be mad at that. Like, this is just too cool. And honestly, the showcase variants. So we see showcase versions across all the different planes for the team up cards specifically, and they're awesome. Like, there are a ton of beautiful cards in this set. And I love the fact that they are bringing us to all of these different planes, not just in what characters they're choosing to show, but also in the art styles that they are leveraging. Like, this is straight up, like, this takes me back to opening Ikoria collector boosters 2 years ago now, and finding, you know, the like, I think I opened a comic book Snapdax, and that was just the coolest thing. Like, if you haven't had a chance to see that Snapdax in person, oh my goodness, it's great. Like, it pops off the page. It's the coolest thing. And I have no doubt this Kogla and Yidaro art is also going to look phenomenal in person. Like, this art style translates to cards beautifully. So I'm very excited to check this out. Also, this is a big, dumb red and green card. So I don't know how in demand this is going to be. So there's a decent chance you're going to see me rocking a commander deck with this at the helm, because I think this is rad. And, yeah, Gruul Stompy Smash ETB action was not to love. Although Kogla and Yidaro in the command zone would be a little bit of a downside. It'd be a little bit of a bummer because you can't take advantage of that discard effect. So, okay, maybe it doesn't make it a phenomenal commander, but I don't know. In the 99 is something. I have a Jund deck that could use this. Anyway, thank you so much for checking out this edition of the Overthinking MTG podcast. I appreciate it. It's available on YouTube as well as anywhere podcasts are available. Thank you. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next one.